Wall Street is panicking that Trump's policies could make the economy work for average Americans. I've told y'all for years that Democrats do not care about the average American. They are the elites. They are the big billionaires and millionaires, the billionaires and millionaires, the one that uh um what's his name? The Vermont, the guy Bernie Sanders. Those are the people that Bernie Sanders are supposedly against. Well, they overwhelmingly support people like um, Bernie Sanders and the Democrat Party because they know they're gonna they're gonna get their money's worth from them, and they're up there panicking that Trump American First policies and putting the average Americans and the poor people first will mess up their bottom line, and they're worried about that. And again, I've been telling y'all for years that the Democrat Party is not really the party for the people. They are the party of Wall Street. No matter how much Elizabeth Warren pretends that she's against Wall Street and all of that, they still overwhelmingly support her and the Democrats. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that. But before we get started, go ahead and hit that like button, share this out so we can get this information out there. Subscribe if you're not already a subscriber, and hit that alarm bell so you know when I'm putting out new stuff. Also, check out my link tree in the description. It has a link to my Patreon. That's where I talk about things that I can't talk about here. All right, so let's talk about this news. Now, this comes from the Daily Caller News Foundation, from Rebecca Zeljaco. Sorry, I killed your name. But she reports that Wall Street is panicking that former President Donald Trump's populist economic policies will hurt growth in the second term. But experts told the Daily Caller News Foundation that it's average Americans who stand to benefit. Wall Street traders are increasingly betting that Trump will win the presidency following President Joe Biden's dismal debate performance at the end of June, and are worried that the former president's immigration and trade policies will hurt top-line economic growth, according to Politico. While Trump's economic policies might harm the results of headline economic reports, they channel benefits to American workers who are dealing with the effect of a massive surge of illegal immigration and unfavorable trade policies, according to experts who spoke to the DCNF. Trump has campaigned and governed on key populist policies that prioritize trade protectionism and American manufacturing. Best believe, like companies like John Deere, who's was an American company, they're talking about moving over to Mexico. Best believe when this happened and Trump get in office, there's going to be some tariffs on John Deere and companies like them that move manufacturing overseas or to other countries like South America. But this goes hand in hand with Trump's immigration policy plans for his potential next term, as he pledged to implement the largest domestic mass deportation during an Iowa campaign speech in December. He said, quote, "What the Biden administration has done is that they have just essentially stopped enforcing border laws, and they parole these illegal immigrants in our country." Michael Faulkner, chief economist at the America First Policy Institute, told the DCNF, quote, "They give them work visas, and this is why people on the left are saying that Trump's policies would cause inflation. It's because if we deport all of those workers, then somehow we wouldn't have enough workers to do all the work that's currently being done." In the last year, the number of employed foreign-born workers rose by over 600,000 to nearly 31 million. Wow. While the number of employed native-born Americans dropped by nearly 300,000. I think I did a report on that. The disparity indicates that benefits under Biden are going to foreign-born workers rather than native-born workers. And when he talks about the job growth and all these other things, he don't tell you that the majority of these jobs are going to illegal aliens. Quote, "The average American is no longer going to have to compete against the incredibly low-wage labor that is driving down the standard of living." E.J. Antoni, a public finance economist and Richard F. Astor Fellow at the Heritage Foundation told the DCNF about the effects of Trump's immigration policy in the second term. Quote, in other words, you will increasingly see businesses pay living wages to their employees. Quote, and goes on to say, quote, this was actually a key reason why a lot of blue collar jobs saw such a rapid wage growth during the first Trump term, Antony told the DCNF. It was because they really helped stem the tide of illegal immigration that existed before Trump. As less of the illegal labor came across the border, it helped buoy the labor market, at least for Americans. A key feature of Trump's economic policy is his first term that remains a part of the planned agenda. For a second is trade protectionism, which involves setting tariffs on imports, particularly from foreign competitors like China, and promoting American manufacturing. This is something that I was just alluding to. Those tariffs, I think, will help bring a lot of these automakers and places like John Deere back to the United States. Quote, take a look at the significant application of tariffs that President Trump did during his first term, Faulkner told the DCNF. We had sub 2% inflation during his entire presidency. So if applying tariffs at the scale President Trump has talked about were to be as inflationary as Democrats or demagoguing people into believing, where was the inflation during President Trump's presidency? And that's true. They said that his policies would bring in inflation. Why didn't it happen during his first term? Great point. Peter Early, senior economist at the American Institute for Economic Research, disagrees with the effectiveness of tariffs, arguing that these trade policies ultimately burden American business owners and consumers by raising costs through inflation. Again, how come we didn't see that during his first term? But he said, quote, because disinflation is underway for now, it seems less likely that the concern is higher rates of inflation in coming years owing to monetary policy, Earl told the DCNF. It's more likely that worries about Trump's promised tariffs are causing higher yields on long-term bonds. Tariffs increase the cost of imported goods, and if they are put on a wide variety of goods, can give rise in the overall price levels of goods and services. To be sure, his recent call for 60% tariffs would be devastating to world trade, even beyond the U.S. and China. When costs to businesses rise, such as for inputs which are imported, consumer prices will rise, Earl told the DCNF. Other economists like Faulkner say that Trump's economic and trade policies actually benefit Americans across the board. Quote, the Trump era was very good for average Americans, for working class Americans, and it was good for investors, Faulkner told the DCNF. If you look at the stock market's performance during the Trump administration, it did exceptionally well, which is why I don't understand why Wall Street don't really like Trump in the first place. But I digress. It goes on to say, I really just dispute this analysis coming from the left that suggests that the economy is this zero-sum game and that benefiting workers is bad for investors. With the right set of policies, we can improve outcomes for investors and workers alike. I agree. I believe we can do that. That was the record under President Trump, and that's what I expect the second term to go back to. And I completely agree. That's why we need to bring back Trump. Vote Trump in 2024 November, this November. But y'all let me know what y'all think about this. Leave your comments down below. Like, share, and subscribe. And check out jjthepsychotherapist.com for the latest in news. Until next time, peace.